recommendation today because I want to talk about books and it's summer and maybe you might read them. Some of these books are longer and require a good amount of stamina and patience, but they are very much worth it. And other ones are more chill, more relaxing. So I'll let you know with each book what is what. The first one is The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. This is a chill book. This is relaxing. This is very nice. And you can see by the cover, it's just beautiful. And the language is equally and if not more beautiful than this cover. It is about a couple that live in a lighthouse off the coast of Australia, you know, the light between oceans, and it is about how they have been there for 4 years and they can't conceive a child, and then one day on a boat arrives a dead man and a baby, and it's about what happens after that in their entire story. It's really, really good. This is the type of book that, like, you just want to curl up with a cup of tea and read for the rest of the day and not think about anything else. Next is You Go Bernadette by Maria Semple. It is a mystery novel, I guess. You couldn't really tell by the cover, it looks very girly. It's the type of book you would read when you want to find out, I guess, when you're feeling curious. This is also the type of book that you sit with a cup of tea and read, but it's not really curl up and read, it's more like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? It involves this girl's mother, Bernadette. It's talking about the girl's journey to find her and how she finds out more about her mother and about what happened in the past 20 years ago. It's also about the city that they're in, Seattle, and it involves, you know, a journey that they take. I feel like this one is more universal than The Light Between Oceans because I feel like it would just appeal to more people, you know, the writing the way it is. But do bear in mind that there are a lot of documentation in it to show different things that have happened. And in the beginning, it kind of bothered me, but I got used to it and it made the story a lot better, so recommend, obviously. That's what the video is about. Next is Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt. This book is about Frank McCourt's childhood. So this is talking about how when he was a child and he was living in New York with his parents, his Irish immigrant parents. I think it's in the early 1900s, and then they had to move back because it was so hard to make it in America. And then it's talking more about his childhood growing up in Ireland as a Catholic boy and what he's had to go through and the struggles. And I think this was right after the famine, I'm pretty sure. My history is not the best. It gives you a very good description of what it was like to be an Irish Catholic boy and to experience everything that he's experienced. And it ends when he's 16, right? So then there's a next book after that called Tis, and then that continues on to say what happens after that. I also recommend that one, but this is the more popular one, obviously, first book. It's the winner of the 1997 Pulitzer Prize, and it is eye-opening. I had no idea. Next is Roots by Alex Haley. This is the type of book that you require patience for. It is a beautiful 688 pages long. I'm not gonna lie, some parts are boring reading this book, but it is so worth it. It is about this guy, Alex Haley, who's also the writer of the autobiography of Malcolm X. He was able to trace back his family roots back to Africa. So this is historical fiction about each of those family members and what they went through and different tribulations, different things that happened. When he was talking about how his father was caught and he was stolen from his homeland and he was brought into America, he used accounts from the time, he used different sources. It is really, really good. It is so worth it. It's one of those books where it just kind of changes the way that you see history and it kind of brings a lot of things to light. So this begins, I think, in the 1800s, and then it ends at Alex Haley. So in the 1900s, I'm not sure exactly where he ends the story. Even if you feel bored throughout, trust me, when you get to the end, you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. What's weird about this book is that when I was telling my mother about it, she was like, oh wait, I feel like I've heard the story before. When I was a kid, I watched a TV show about a guy with the same name, and then I was like, wait, hold on. So I researched this, and it turns out they did come out with a TV show about this. It was like a series, I think it was a BBC series. It was a great coincidence. Another beautiful cover. All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I guess if you're in the mood for having your heart broken, and not in the romantic sense, in the, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening to people. And if you want to read historical fiction about World War II and about innocent children, what they had to go through. I mean, only if you want to, I guess. This is the book for you. It is beautiful. It is definitely slow-paced. I recommend reading it in chunks and not putting it off because I've said this in my May favorites. A lot of things happen and there are a lot of characters to keep track of. So if you do feel inclined, please read this. I can't recommend this to everyone. I know that. I cannot recommend this to everyone. I want to reread it, kind of, like right now, but I'm forcing myself to wait because I want to forget about what happened and I want to forget about all the beautiful things and all the beautiful words that are in this book. and I want to experience it all over again with a fresh mind. Okay, this one is a chick flick in a book. It is Can You Keep a Secret by Sophie Kinsella. I have read this at a minimum of 3 times. I'm saying at a minimum because I remember reading it a few years ago and I remember rereading it a few years ago. And I don't have any record of me reading it in the past 2 or 3 years, but I did just reread it, so I know for a fact that it isn't my memory telling me that it's good. It's me actually saying that it's good. It makes you cringe, it makes you laugh, it makes you hopeful. It's about a girl who goes on her first business trip, and on the way back she's upgraded to either first or business class, and she's sitting next to this guy and they're going through turbulence in the sky. She thinks they're gonna die, so she accidentally tells him every stupid detail about her life, like all the minuscule secrets that she has in her life. She gets home, she goes back to work. Turns out that guy is the CEO of her company, and it's really funny, it's really good. I love Sophie Kinsella, she's a great writer. I could say that when I was younger, I didn't understand half the stuff they were talking about, but now that I reread it, I think I understood everything. So that's great. Turns out I grew up. Next is Landline by Rowell. It's about a woman, she's married, she's having a kind of tough relationship with her husband at the moment, and every time she tries to call him, she realizes that she's not talking to her husband in the present form. She's talking to him 18 years ago. And it's about their relationship, it's about how they got married, it's about a lot of different things. And it's the type of book that you read and you're like, oh, this is pretty good. But then every time you think about it, you're like, that's really smart. Or you're like, that makes a lot of sense. Or you think, thank you for that commentary on life. The last book I want to recommend, I don't have a physical copy of because it is no longer in print. I know. It is Summerhill by A.S. Neill. I'll have the title on the screen. A.S. Neill is a principal of his own private school in Scotland. He's also a psychologist. So the school is run in the way that he believes children should be taught. I'm not kidding. Every page or two, I'm like, oh my god, this guy is a genius. Everything he writes makes so much sense, and because it's a boarding school, the kids also live in the school, and it talks about society, equality, even the children, it's how they grow up together and how they get to university afterwards. It's non-fiction, it's beautiful, it deserves your time. If you have ever been in school, or if you have interacted with a child, or if you have been a child, this book might be for you. I enjoyed the writing, but I'm not sure if I can recommend it because of the writing, because it is pretty old, and the last time it was published was, I believe, in the 1970s. I think I'm gonna buy it somehow, probably through eBay or something, just so I could lend it out to people and tell them, hey, by the way, read this book, please. I guess that's all I have to say. If you've read any of them, let me know in the comments. If you have any recommendations for me, let me know. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, follow me on Twitter. This is the end. Peace out. See you later. Bye.